Good morning, everyone. How's everybody? So I'm David Adams. I'm president of the Board of Trustees for this year, and want to welcome everybody on a somewhat cool and rainy morning. So before we begin our annual Ingathering service today, just a few brief items and reminders for everyone. So our office manager, Brenda Jones, is still out on vacation, a much needed vacation. And she will return on the 14th, which is my birthday. 14th, and which is Thursday. So if you have an urgent issue for the office before then contact me or one of the other board members, Debbie, Terry, or Carissa, and we'll try to help you out. Today, after the service, a new adult RE program will get underway. The program is entitled Our Place in the Web of Life, and it will be led by our own Laura Mulroy. So please join in that if you're interested. Let's see, what else? As Carissa Moore mentioned last week, stay tuned for Sunday the 24th, which is 2 weeks from today. Because we plan to kick off our fundraising drive to put a new roof over our heads. I happen to be up on the roof on Thursday, Friday, and there are some holes up there, as we talked about last week. So we have a spirit level grant to jumpstart that process and help us make lots of noise, raise the roof, so to speak. So you'll learn more about that soon. Our Green Sanctuary team has drafted a document in support of our application to the UUA to be part of the Green Sanctuary program, which is dedicated to living sustainably and in support of environmental and climate justice, an important initiative. The team's draft application is actually available for viewing on the Thursday Connections. There's a link there. It's an interesting read. And the Green Sanctuary team did a lot of work putting that together. So take a look at that. Our Vice President, Debbie, reminded me that we are collecting information on these yellow emergency contact forms. We need to have, or would like to have, information from everyone, from all members, that we can keep on file here in case anybody has an accident, an injury, something that occurs. While they are here, we know who to contact. Okay, so these yellow forms are available on the green table in the back, so pick one up before you leave. Finally, as always, take note of the other events that are listed on the screen behind me there, and of course, please join us for coffee and conversation after the service. And so with that, we'll turn things over to Reverend Maggie Yenoki.
Thank you, David, and welcome. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. And yeah, and look, we have a choir. So happy to have them back and to have all of you here with us today. Just beautiful. And welcome to those who are joining on Zoom. I'm really grateful that you're here. And I know that there were a few folks that really wanted to be here today but had other things that took them away. One is my husband. He's up on Mount Wilson, being the usher at a chamber music concert up there in the room where they have the big 100-inch telescope. I guess they like the acoustics in there, and that's where George is today. So it's our tradition to open our service by ringing the bell 3 times. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We ring it once for the founding members of this congregation whose vision brings us here today 71 years later. We ring it for the Tongva and the other indigenous peoples who tended this land long ago and first called it home. We also ring it for all of us gathered here and those joining us online, for our staff, our visitors, our friends, our sustaining members, and our partnership congregation in the Philippines, all of whom support and illumine our journey together. and for tomorrow, for all who will find safe belonging here among us and make MVUUC their spiritual home in the days just ahead. Today we celebrate our ingathering. We call it a homecoming celebration. And while the traditional celebration of this day in all the congregations of our faith, if you flip through Facebook and you're members or supporters of other congregations, you're going to see similar setups to ours on all the pages. It's really beautiful to see how many of us are sharing this day of celebration together. But I invite you now, you could stand as you're comfortable, and we're going to sing our opening song, one that's familiar to a lot of us, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And we'll invite those who are still coming in the door and those who will come to be with us in the future. Invite Maribel Dana to come up and light our chalice. Our time together in worship is deeply interwoven with our daily lives. And as a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame that represents our shared light of hope and witness. The flame, slide that up and then hit the button. Yeah. Or use a match. I'll take it. Yeah, it's going, but it's... Thank you. The flame of our chalice this morning is a symbol of the warmth, the belonging, and the brightness of all of our connections. The flame lights our way back together again. And as we welcome a shift from our busy summer days into this new church year of promise and renewal. Now, also another tradition we enjoy sharing is, as covenantal congregations, we read our covenant together. So I invite you to stand as we read that. The words are in your order of service, but also on the screen. Read it as you're comfortable participating. And then we'll follow it by singing Spirit of Life. So if you could stand for that, as you're comfortable. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, our minds, and our hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian, Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Just a citation. everyone but Robert. He'll be comfortable up here. Robert is our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, and he will be giving us our wisdom tale for this morning.
So today's wisdom tale is by Jamie Lee Curtis and Laura Cornell. It's called My Brave Year of Firsts, Tries, Sighs, and High Fives. It's got a lot of cute pictures, and I'll have it on the RE table after service if you want to look through it. The first time I rode a two-wheeler alone, I crashed, and my mom filmed it on her iPhone. I crashed and I crashed. Dad ran out of steam. He let go. I went straight. Mom filmed as she screamed. I got my first pet, a rescued lab, named him Keith. I chose him because we were both missing our front teeth. I'll take care of him, I said with a boast, till the first time I picked up his poop. It was gross. The first day I walked straight into first grade, my teacher, Miss Apple, said, "Don't be afraid." At first I felt like I might not fit in. Then I made my first friends, my very first twins. I struggled at first to learn to tie shoes. My sweet Auntie Cookie showed me choices to use. Bunny ears, classic, loop over, under, through. I tried and I tried till at last I could too. I took riding lessons on a pony called Ace. The first time I fell, I got a scrape on my face. But then I held on and I learned how to trot. That giddy up is to go and whoa is to stop. First grade was fun, new first every day. What a sorry, I'm dyslexic and I messed it up. Homonym was what elephants weigh. And then it says, way, W-E-I-G-H, and way, that'll weigh, W-A-Y. And hair, and peace, stole and stole. Not all firsts were fun, some firsts were hard. When I stole Zoe's pencil, I couldn't play in the yard. I asked for permission from my parents to walk with Keith and the twins, first time around the block. We took some supplies and carried Mom's phone. We felt all grown up to be out on our own. I went with my class to the public library. At first it seemed huge and a little bit scary. Then Joel the librarian got me my card. I found my first book. It wasn't that hard. I also got caught in my very first lie. My parents were cross. I started to cry. I learned a first lesson that to stand up and say I did something wrong starts to make it okay. For the very first time, I worked with my father. At his restaurant, I would not be a bother. I put out the hot sauce that makes your ears steam. As a waitress, I was a real part of his team. My first kept on coming, my first pony show, my first tummy flu that made me go and go and go, my first big girl heels that made me feel tall, my first ballet class, my first game of t-ball. A fabulous first, my triathlon medal. For my age and group, a swim, a run, and a pedal. I raced against time. It was quite a test. While some tried to win, I just tried my best. I got my first case of the giggles in school when the boy 2 seats over started to drool. Then the milk I was drinking came out of my nose, and I turned very red from my head to my toes. I wanted to learn to make a rope skip, but for all of my tries, I just learned to trip. It was very hard to connect hands and feet. Till the first time it worked, it was quite a feat. I found a small beetle who was missing a leg. I got him a box and I named him Greg. I punched a few holes to save him from cats. I added some grass, my first bug habitat. I got my first bee sting and a boy did it hurt. I shouted I shouldn't have walked barefoot in the dirt. I sold some flat rocks that I painted and signed, and I made a donation the very first time. I tried for the first to taste my mom's truffles that apparently come when pigs use their snuffles. She put them in pasta with broccoli and stems. Try it, she said, but I'll never like them. At the end of the summer, I tubbed on my own. I bounced on the water like a skipping stone. The lake was all glassy, smooth, dark, and cold. I held on and signaled just like I was told. And after the s'mores, we camped by the lake, my very first tent that my dad let me stake. All cozy and warm in my bag with a pad, I thought about all the fun first that I'd had. And I climbed the big rock. I was old enough now. My dad showed me step by step so I'd know how. I looked down at the lake. I jumped out with fear. When I came up and smiled, the entire lake cheered. Some firsts just happen, some come when I try. Some firsts make me smile, some firsts make me cry. But I knew that at that moment, though I've known all along, that first things happen when I'm brave, true, and strong. And so I chose that story because today is our Ingathering service, and many of our kids are going to school. Ingatherings all around the country are lined up with when the children traditionally used to start school, but now in California we start earlier and earlier. So some of our kids have already been at school for a few weeks, but the next thing that we're going to do is a backpack blessing so that they can have a good school year. And so if you're a student of any age and you've brought your backpack, can you bring it up, please? And so we can do our backpack blessing. If you did not bring your backpack, you'll still get a gift if you're a student. I got some gifts for everybody on the back. The gifts that we've got are a pencil box. Yeah, you can bring that'll work. Just place them up in the front, and then we'll do our backpack blessing, and then you can come back and get them. And the gifts are going to be on the back table. And okay. The gifts that we got are a pencil box that I picked up. I included some magic wands of a variety of styles. No offense, Jeannie, these are store-bought. Jeannie makes amazing magic wands. These ones, though, will help you get the right answer when you're feeling in, like you don't maybe know it. There's some stickers so you can decorate your box. You can trade them. I didn't know which stickers each kid would like, so I got a variety. There's some erasers, so, it's okay to make mistakes. Clean them up and try again. And then I made these bookmarks. And they say, remember to ask questions, share knowledge, make friends, and be you. And then it has our flaming chalice on the bottom and says Monte Vista UU. So these are all in there, so you can take those with you. And now that all the bags are up here, if you are an educator or a retired educator of any kind, please stand up. Everybody, I'm going to have you repeat this, but we want to focus on the people who have worked in education. So I want to show everybody we are a congregation that values knowledge and education. And so I want the kids to look around and see just how many people in this church believe in your betterment and improving your lives. So, and with that, 1 second while I pull up the words, I'm going to have everybody repeat. Sorry, I meant to have this printed out. Okay, so this is adapted from words by Karen Johnson. She's a DRE at a different UU congregation. So repeat after me. Even when you are away from Monte Vista, you can carry the heart of Unitarian Universalism wherever you go.
Even if you're away from Monte Vista, you can carry the heart of Unitarian Universalism wherever you go.
May you feel curiosity all of your days.
May you feel curiosity all of your days.
May your imagination catch fire.
May your imagination catch fire.
May you find courage when it's necessary.
May you find courage when it's necessary.
May confusion lead to better questions.
May confusion lead to better questions.
May you feel compassion toward those around you, and they towards you.
May you feel compassion for those around you, and they towards you.
May you feel heard and seen, and may you hear and see others.
May you feel heard and seen, and may you hear and see others.
May you speak up for those who are not heard, who are not seen.
May you speak up for those who are not heard and not seen.
Thank you. And now if the kids can come up and get your bags, I have a final question for you. And if you can just say, "We will," after I ask the question. As your spirit's home, we are made stronger when you share what you learn. We ask that you bring what you learn of the world back to this place. If you agree, say, "We will." Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Layers and layers of thanks for all of you, for all of you. And in this land of many valleys where we all live, may it be so. Yeah. As an expression of our congregation's ministry to our community and our generous compassion for those who are in need, we voted to share our offering plate with the Inland Valley Hope Partners each Sunday in the month of September. All of the offerings that are not designated to fulfill pledges will be shared 50-50 with Inland Valley Hope Partners to support their Beta Center and the other programs that offer care to our neighbors that are hungry and homeless. Our community has a long history of support for Inland Valley Hope Partners, a supportive services organization that's headquartered in nearby Pomona, and it ensures the empowerment of others by providing food, shelter, and other services to those in need. Each week, we gather non-perishable food and grooming items for their Beta Center. And at the end of this month, we will have fun, a lot of us, George and I think Jack and Janine, a few of the others in the congregation, and it's still open to more who want to sign up. It is the 50th annual Walk for the Hungry and Homeless. But all of our actions of generosity are one way that we live out our values. By taking the time to gather this offering, we are embracing a ritual that says our giving is an essential part of our spiritual well-being. So now, while we listen to Lily's beautiful offertory, I invite those in the sanctuary to please come forward with your generous offerings. And it is with deep gratitude for the many, many gifts of this community that the offering will now be given and received. Beautiful. We love sharing the stories of our lives. In this community, we hold one another and we take care of each other. And sometimes we share happy news, we share our joys, we share the delights of our life. And I have one from Reverend Ellen right now, and I'm so proud of you. Hooray, of course, of course. Of course she passed her driver's test. Yay! Yeah, she says, but I won't drive a lot. Is that a promise to us for some reason? You think you need to promise that? Sweet. Then Caitlin sends us a request. She has a concern for her grandma, who is having her third eye surgery to correct the first two surgeries that she's had. Yeah. She says she gets worried because she's had so many surgeries. Please keep her in your prayers and energies. We will. Thank you. Let us know how she does, okay? And then one from Shirley. It's kind of a request. And it is for more hospitality volunteers, but specifically needed to fill in for me September 24th. She'll be out of town for her great-grandson's 4th birthday. Boy, do I get that one. My grandson Wilder just turned 4 recently too, so I love that age. Yeah, have a good time and don't worry. We'll cover you. We've got you. Yeah. We're going to sing happy birthday to those with birthdays in September in a minute. But I want to mark a couple of things that are going on. One is the earthquake in Morocco. I know you probably all heard about it. It was Friday night, but now they're saying there are over 2,000 people that have been killed. Yeah, and there are still many areas where they haven't gotten in to communicate with the people that live there. I just picture our area in that same situation, and we have so much empathy for them. But the earthquake was near Marrakesh, about 40 miles away, but it's just so sad, and we just offer them our compassion, and we'll help them any way that we can. And also tomorrow marks the 22nd anniversary of the September 11 attacks, when 4 coordinated terrorist attacks were carried out against the United States in 2001, killing nearly 3,000 people. That event, that day, marked the single largest loss of life resulting from foreign attack on American soil. And as one who is from New York, it certainly isn't the only area that was affected. We all carried the wounds from that trauma with us, but as we mark that day and remember those who were there and helped any way they could, and those who lost their lives, we connect to each other, and we connect with a hope that we can do better, and that our faith can be a light to those who know we can do better. And I don't feel that's a very easy shift to start singing happy birthday after that. Debbie? Please. Why don't you come over here, because the folks on Zoom will not be able to hear you, and they want your joy too. Does it have to do with that little being in that bag there?
That's one joy for sure.
Thank you for taking
Yes,
care of
I
Sophie today.
have my little 18-year-old puppet home today, and so
Nice.
I got to hold Sophie, so that's special. But I wanted to just do a shout out to our 3 new choir members. We have, yeah, could they stand up? Stand up, ladies. Yeah. We have Ann Taves in the front row, and Sandu Grajeda and Karen Lane in the back row, and it surely is nice to have some more voices. So we're so glad they're here.
Yes, thank you. And isn't that just like our life? We are carrying so many sad things, and some of them happened a long time ago, but they accumulate, but they're in our hearts. So, and then we have the joys. So right now we're going to celebrate a joy. Hope it's not, thank you, Debbie, that it's not so much whiplash, but who in the room had a birthday in September? And one of them is George. His is the 15th, but he's not here. Oh, David. Jack. Karen. Wow, wonderful. All these Scorpios. Are they? No? Virgos. Oh. Right, Scorpios are November. Sorry, see, I'm not good. Sorry. But we sing, all of you, and when we get to the names, we'll just say September babies. I know it's a mouthful, but you can do it. You can do it. This morning, our pastoral prayer is adapted from the prayer of Shanti Deva, followed by some shared silence that will be concluded by our gentle song. As we settle into a time of prayer and meditation, we shift in our seats a little bit, maybe relocate our feet flat on the floor. And as you're comfortable, place one hand on our belly, one on our heart. And we turn our attention to our breath. And we notice our heartbeat. We offer gratitude for these bodies that are constantly in our service. And we hold the image of our capacity to inhale the energies of the sky. And we sense the energies of the earth through our feet. And this spirit, the spirit of universal life force energy, is meeting within us, swirling and connecting us to one another and to the peace of the universe. May we be a guard for those who need protection. And when we seek protection, may we find it and share it. For those who wish to cross to a further shore, may we be a boat, a raft, a bridge. May we be open to the companionship of others as we make our way to the places that are still unfolding before us. May we be a lamp in the darkness for all who seek it. And may that light never be extinguished from our own sight and from our own hearts. May we be a resting place for the weary and healing medicine for all who are sick. May we welcome the salve others offer us for our own afflictions, whether of the body, mind, or heart. And where others see scarcity, may we see a vase of plenty and a tree of miracles. As part of the boundless multitude of living beings, may we bring sustenance, awakening, and freedom from sorrow. May we delight in our common existence, holding most tenderly those with broken hearts. Let us sit together in stillness now as we breathe together during this moment of shared silence. Our reading today comes from the UUA in Boston. Our new president of the UUA has created an ingathering message for all of us. It is almost 6 minutes, so make yourselves comfortable as we listen to the Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt.
Beloveds, it brings me great joy to welcome you into this season of return, when we celebrate ingatherings and come back to each other in our congregations and our communities writ large. For me personally, this is a time of return to our Unitarian Universalist Association, and I am humbled by your trust in me as your president. Thank you for the love and support you have shown me, not just during last year's presidential campaign, but during General Assembly in Pittsburgh. Thank you, UUs. We are at the start of our shared ministry together, and we have been invited to consider a whole new way of visioning and resourcing our UUA. Our Commission on Institutional Change has invited us into a type of collaboration that we have not yet fully envisioned. This is work that I cannot do without you, certainly work that I cannot do without our remarkable UUA staff, and I am looking forward to all that we will accomplish together. Beloveds, this is a time to think about and reflect on the call of Unitarian Universalism in these days. Who are we meant to be collectively? And how do we care for one another along the way? In this coming year, once again, we get to lean into our shared values and talk about and discuss and chew on how we express those together as we come back to the next year of work on Article 2. More than just bylaws, however, it matters how we story ourselves into being. Those messages will guide us in our work to come. In this year, we are responding to the call of justice in our nation and around the globe. Beloveds, I know these are difficult times. I know that we are sometimes afraid. I know that we need one another, that there is strength in religious community, and that progressive religious community is called to be a counter-cultural response to what can seem like the inevitable outcome of society today. We believe in human goodness. It is a radical idea. Our liberal tradition guides us toward liberation because we become more free when we are in this work together, when we promote our values together, when we lead together. I want to invite you to sit with me in reflection on all that Unitarian Universalism is called to be in these days. How are you asked? How are you inspired to live your faith in the world? What does your congregation, this community, specialize in? Where is your mission most needed in the surrounding community? And how do we care for one another as we go? Loves, we are called to communal care like never before. We see this in this time when we are re-emerging from the quarantine stage of pandemic. And let me take a moment to say, wow, did we hold one another beautifully and well in these last years. Please let us not lose the lessons we learned about how to hold one another in care, how to protect the health of all, how to center the needs of those most vulnerable among us, so that community writ large continues. What have you learned in these recent years? How are you sharing those learnings with other UUs and with other members of your community? This is the work of communal care as we steward this faith together. Beloveds, I am grateful for each and every one of you. As I said, I cannot do this work alone. This is work we do together. And I cannot do this remarkable ministry without your phenomenal UUA staff. I want to ask you to treat your leaders, leaders of all kinds, religious professionals, lay leaders, elders, youth, emerging adults, all those who shape us in new ways. Hold your leaders with love. We are all tired. Much is asked of us, and there are wonderful things yet to come. Together, we will reimagine the workings and expressions of this faith, and we will hold on to the traditions and theologies and commitments that have made us who we are. This is beloved community. This is communal care in a season of return. I can't wait to continue this ministry with all of you. Be well, beloveds.
I was talking with the vice president this week. And it wasn't Kamala Harris. Someone closer, someone who knows and cares about each one of us dearly. Debbie Skirdo and I were talking about Ingathering and how it's been such a meaningful tradition in our faith for decades. Water communion that has been celebrated since about 1980, and the official start of our new church year, even though the fiscal year begins in July, and also the shift in our congregational life toward a more intentional time of learning and working together toward our common goals. It's a time to celebrate the last moments of summer and cover our children and our teachers with blessing for the new year, just opening. And also, especially in these tender seasons, our ingathering is a time for us to curl inward just a bit and open up the spaces in our hearts that we've been too busy to tend to over the summer. Ingathering invites us to enter a different space, a space to pause and reflect and stand in awe and in honor of who each of us are, and of this beautiful, quirky, compassionate gang of unlikely UU kin that we choose to share our lives with and to build a home with, and we plan to stick with. Ingathering gives us time to stop everything and look around. Look around at all there is to dust off and polish up and tend to. And I can testify that the board has been hard at work, tending to quite a bit over the summer. But we all do well to offer them our gratitude for the many, many ways that they have stayed hard at work, caring for the aspects of our campus life together. So maybe especially now we can tell ourselves that we can take all the time we need to gather up all of those fond memories that we've collected over the summer and see what we have here with fresh eyes. Eyes that know how fortunate we really are, not only for where we've been, but for where we're going. And we'll get there. Oh, yeah, yeah. Eyes that can clearly see that we want others to be able to have this faith in their lives too. And we take this Sunday each year to stop and celebrate our homecoming to this faith and to this community. And we know that coming in for a rest is super important. Doing so helps us to shift our paradigm and freshen up our commitments gives us dedicated time to turn our attention to the community that roots us and gives us the grounding that strengthens each of us. Because sometimes we just need to stop and look around and remember why we feel at home here. Ingathering is a good time to enter that space of home, to fly away home. And in the swirl of difficult events in the world, to catch our breath and to offer gratitude for that feeling of coming up on the porch, smelling cookies baking, finding that kitchen door wide open to you, dropping our heavy baggage so we can just sit long enough to feel deep in our bones that belonging that we search for. And our hearts say, welcome home. Come in, rest, remember, and be sure to tell others where to come for some of the same. While I was reading to prepare this message for you today, I was touched by the words of a couple of fellow ministers, especially the writings of Rachel Rott and Amanda Popova. I've swirled their words into a new flavor that I hope tastes delicious to you too, and it's one that you'll want to share for our ingathering. Welcome. Welcome all of you with questions, you seekers of truth with a capital T, pilgrims longing for sanctuary, travelers needing harbor from the storm. Welcome all who are holding on by a thread, you who pushed through your fear because something told you that you deserve to belong somewhere, and we're glad that you're here. Welcome home. Welcome you who seek community for your children, because you entrust your precious ones here, and we commit to nurture and respect them. So welcome children and youth. You gift us with your joy, your curiosity, and your trust. Welcome home. Welcome to this home that love made. It is full of the love that the founders felt when they planned out these walls and raised these beams above us, these beams that now depend on us to repair them. It is full of the prayers and wonder of all who have ever worshiped here, those who have celebrated here and grieved here, the babies dedicated, the couples married, and the family members that have mourned here. Because this is a home that love made. It is full of the love of our young adults who learn and laugh together as they grow into their own sense of purpose and meaning. It's full of the love of the staff who have served it, full of their hopes for this congregation and their hard work and their acts of dedication. It is full of the love of our choir and of our Lily, and of the love made so clear in the voices lifted in song on this Sunday morning. Because this home is full of love. The love of this community is a love that we hone and polish and keep dusted off. It's one that knows the love that holds us together as a people, no matter how difficult things can be sometimes, and how tender our seasons can become. We know we have something here that the world needs. May we always be finding new ways to open and share it. And may we long to say, welcome home. Welcome to the home that love built. Welcome to our place of learning and growing, and our place of challenges and change and hard things. Welcome to our place of ritual. And ritual is good. It is a good, soothing elixir. It is the tonic for the soul that longs for meaning and expression and comfort and community. And today we share in a traditional ritual that has had many expressions over the past 40 years. Our UUA website tells the story that in 1980, two Unitarian Universalist women, Carolyn McDade, who wrote Spirit of Life, and Lucille Shuck Longview, were asked to create a worship service for the Women in Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists. And they wanted to create a new ritual that spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. They included a new to them at that time, inclusive symbol that included and reflected women's spirituality, water. And so we carry that tradition in our ritual today, to speak to our connectedness to each other and to life and to our place here at this ingathering. So I invite you to participate as we bless the water that we will pour together with our memory, with our intention, and with our hope. I invite you to please come forward and pour some water and share your 3 words of blessing for our ingathering today. The blessed water that we have created, that we will create together, will be poured onto our land in ceremony at the conclusion of our service today. I'll have a microphone for you, and I invite you to share 3 words of blessing for our community as we pour the water. Jaryus, you have some on. Who wants to go first?
Am I on?
Yeah, yeah. So come forward, and we will pour water into the clamshell for our water communion. A little bit.
And I bless this water with healing and joy and compassion. I am grateful. Bless the spilled water. Fun, friends, and family. Bless our connections.
Anyone else?
Mother Earth, the water planet, and I have to, I can't not say, I was blessed to be at that meeting of the UUWF and just north of Chicago, and then we started it here the next year, and we've been having it ever since. I was really blessed to be there.
You're the forward? Okay.
Community, love, compassion.
My words are, I love you, I bless you, and I thank you.
I'm going to say my words in Te Reo Māori, which is the indigenous language of New Zealand. So aroha is love, manakitanga is kindness, and kotahitanga is unity.
Okay.
gratefulness, trust, and love.
To truth, reason, and equity.
So I brought reusable water balloons that we played with over the summer on our water day. So.
Healing, health, and growth.
For wisdom, strength, and laughter.
Thank you, everyone. Beautiful. And while Maribel extinguishes our chalice from our gathering today, let's sing together, or say together our benediction. We leave this gathered community, but not our connection or our sense of belonging. In this hour together, we have inspired our hearts, our faith, and our care for the world. So until we gather again, let's be strong, be well, and be kind. And let's have treats and coffee together after we enjoy the postlude.